So this is just gonna, I don't even know if the audio quality in this is gonna be good. Hello. I don't really know how to start this idea, this very experimental idea, where I just fucking talk to myself. I don't like necessarily talking to myself because I don't know where to start, but, I don't feel like bugging people. Basically, I'm just gonna go onto random tangents, and you're just gonna have to listen to it, or you can click off. I don't know. It's up to you. I'm not gonna call this a podcast because it isn't really a podcast. It's just me talking to myself. Um, I'll probably just edit this in like school Adobe. Oh yeah, that's something to talk about. Hey, let's talk about Adobe and how I don't like it. um, See, the thing about Adobe is that it's capitalism, and in their advertisement, they have to be like, you could be creative. The creativity is in your fingertips. We give you the ability to play with your creativity. And they get a bunch of actors that obviously don't use the products shown, but pretend like they use the products shown. Only like maybe one advertisement, and that wasn't even like the ones I would see on YouTube. It was just a guy talking about it, where I knew that that guy used the program he was talking about. Let me pick up my dog. Oh, come on, baby. Let's put you under bed. There we go. But pretty much, they're all fake. No one in the advertisements actually cares. They're just obviously being paid a buck. Um, and it's a sucky fucking program. Like I would say the only good ones are Premiere and After Effects, and I only say Premiere because I don't know any other programs. Because I haven't really experimented yet with editing programs. I mostly experimented with drawing and editing, like photos. I'd say Photoshop is a really good program, but is it really worth it? No, because first off, I hate monthly subscriptions. I hate them. Maybe it's normal, and I guess it is normal because even with good programs I would consider better, um, like Toon Boom Harmony, you have to pay a premium subscription for that. And it's like, I don't like that. I don't like paying for something monthly. I prefer, like, if I had to pay a million, not a million, maybe it's a bit of a stretch, like $5,000 for a program, and that'll be the only time I have to pay for it. I would rather pay it like that than do a monthly payment. Like, and if I can't do a monthly payment, I guess who's kind of encouraged to pirate it? Not that I have, but I'm kind of encouraged to, you know? Like there's like it's different when it's like a Patreon or like some kind of side thing where it's like, "Hey, if you enjoy our program, make sure to back us. If you really like it, give us $1." Like because that's minuscule. Like I guess I have the same problem with like TV and shit like that. Like it's such like a corporate creation. And it sucks because Adobe acts like it's this art. It cares about the artist. It does not care about the artist. It cares about their money. And it knows that a lot of people use their products. Now you may be wondering, why didn't I add After Effects into the good programs? That's because After Effects sucks. It fucking sucks. Um, it, like, it'll crash all the time. Like, all the fucking time. And the things that it does, like I feel anyway. I look, I don't understand After Effects. I'm not an After Effects pro or anything. It's a good program if you have a good computer, which most don't. Like my animation teacher, for example, he was expecting us to animate our entire film, as in like cut all the clips together into After Effects, and I pretty much said no to that. I didn't say that to him personally, of course I would be in trouble if I did that, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Pasting clips into After Effects is really frustrating. Like for me, my tactic for After Effects is to do like one clip and then be done. on that file. I'm not going to add multiple files unless, like, let's say I'm adding like a foreground and a background. That's different. It's more like I'm not adding one clip and then another clip. I'm not showing a clip of SpongeBob dancing and then a clip of SpongeBob with Squidward from separate episodes in the same little area because it would just be annoying. Um, it's a very frustrating program because it'll crash. Most of the time, you won't understand why it's doing the thing it's doing. At least in my earliest experiences, that's what I felt. Crashing is the biggest problem, though. Sometimes it won't even boot up. Like, my computer's not that bad. I need to fix the drive because the drive is really shitty, and it actually is kind of affecting my CPU. So, partly, maybe take that with a grain of salt. But anytime I would open it, it would crash automatically. I like Premiere, but I feel like it could be really done with any editing program, what it does. Like, I'm sure pirated versions of other film production stuff does the same thing Premiere does, or what I want out of Premiere. Just, you know, in a different format maybe, but I don't feel like it'd be that big a deal, you know? Photoshop, I think that's the only stretch where it's like, maybe. But even then, there's like an entire list of alternatives. And I would use those instead of ever buying an Adobe product. Because you know what? I only really have these Adobe products because they come with school. And the minute I'm done with school, or the minute I'm done with, like, when I was done with high school, because fortunately my high school was very into their art department, which I'm very happy of. When I was done with those, they would just be like, poof. Or it'd be like, you can't use this anymore. I wouldn't have to pay a, a fee to cancel using the program. That that just proves their fucking "we support creativity" is bullshit comment even more. Because if you really supported creativity, you wouldn't punish people for canceling your program, especially if it's become too costly. It's basically a trap to like get them stuck in with this dumbass program. Be like, I don't want to use this program anymore. I don't even use it. And then it goes to the cutting to the you have to pay us money to cancel, and they'll be like, I don't know if I want to spend my money to cancel it though. Maybe I guess I'll just keep it. That's the mentality that they know what they're fucking doing. It's not like they're doing that on accident. Why would you even? It's just a weird thing to begin with to tell people you gotta give us money to cancel. Like that would that'd be like you got a digital code for Mario Odyssey, which I don't even know if there is one. And then when you when you try to uninstall it, the Nintendo Switch is like, "Whoops, you gotta pay us $5 million in order to do that." It's like, would you rather you would see that as weird, right? It's like that. It's stupid. Fuck Adobe. Like they also are probably supporting NFTs, and I don't look. I'm not an NFT person. If you if you're somehow watching this and you're into NFTs, probably just leave. I hate them. Okay, now I'm gonna get into NFT talk. NFTs are garbage. They're also very garbage. The art never looks good. Like, never. It's either like shitty pixel art that I could make in a matter of minutes, or it's just shitty fucking art. And they all just look like, what was it called? Basically there was, yeah, Picro. Okay. It was called Picro. They all look like these really shitty Picros. And I'm not, that's not to dishearten people who enjoy Picro, because there is some really good Picros out there. But you're not like wasting your money on it and destroying the environment with it. We're already destroying the environment enough. And it's like, we're supporting artists. Meanwhile, they will like literally hack into artists' accounts and take them over just to support crypto. I saw like multiple accounts on my follow list that I know I did not follow and probably got hacked. And I had to unfollow them because I was like, what? I didn't follow them. I make a heavy stance that I hate NFTs. No wonder that I was getting fucking tags about NFTs when I didn't want them. Because Because I was apparently following crypto people because they hacked an artist I liked account. And it's like, that's shitty. That's cringe. They don't care about artists. These guys are like, oh, you don't support artists. No, these people are not the people who support artists because it's like, first off, they're not valuable. I know that even the people who originally funded that damn thing said that it was a scam because guess what? Everyone can like right click or screenshot your dumb NFT and paste it somewhere else. Like the annoying orange, that NFT didn't even last because people just stole the footage and put it online. Like, and these people are wasting like tons of fucking money for it. Like tons of money. And they're like, oh well, it's gonna matter in the future where I sell this off. I'm buying this for $1 million, and in the future it'll be $5 million, and I'll get a lot of money and it'll be worth it. No, it won't. It's a cash grab. Cash grab. It's a cash grab. Pyramid scheme. Scam. All those things in one. You just stupid. You're just stupid and falling for their tricks and scams because they're a company that wants to get money out of you. And like it's annoying how these things spread because besides these NFT bros, which by the way, I would say cryptocurrency is like you know how like there's the stereotype that all girls like zodiacs? Like they all think about zodiacs and like sorry, I can't date you. You're a Sagittarius and that's incompatible with my Stegosaurus or whatever the fuck. I would say the stereotype of boys is they're really into cryptocurrency and NFTs. Like, really into it. Like, really. I saw a thread where, where, where a guy was complaining about his wife, fucking divorcing him over the NFTs, and he was like, I can't believe the love of my life is divorcing me over this. I've tried to explain it to her. What the fuck was it? I think it was from the Twitter account crypto crypto bros taking L's, coiners taking L's. Um I don't remember which one it was. Okay, never mind, I found it. Screenshotting, right clicking and saving or whatever form of stealing NFTs I can find. And not only now I'm a right click hashtag right click victim is what these people are saying. But even my wife is against me. She left to live with her parents, and she's been talking about the custody of our 2 children. I can't believe this. The love of my life may actually be thinking about divorcing me because she cannot understand the business of the future. I tried to explain it to her. It's not just an image. It's an investment. I buy it for 186K, and someone else buys it for me for 500K. It's like... And their icon is one of those disgusting yaoi lions. I don't even really know what they are. I don't fucking care either. They just look ugly, I know that. um, but the whole system is stupid. And it's like, why are you even doing this? Like, I remember, did anyone remember when, Neopets was doing this? Like, they were like making custom custom NFT Neopets, and they were probably like abandoning the old website so they could make these NFTs to I don't know rip on people's nostalgia. I guess that's the only reason they kept the broken ass website around without fixing it, and pissed off pretty much all of their fans. Cause like oh also cause they stole assets from a fan creation, but whatever. Um they're all just terrible. And there's also people who just there's bots on Twitter that would steal your art to make an NFT out of it. Um, I remember I had to block a lot of bots that I was like reading about because they were notorious stealers of art. And there's probably more that I don't even know about. So that's kind of that's like oh that sucks. Um, that's all I really have to say about that specific topic. Let's talk about something a little more wholesome. I don't know if wholesome is the right term, but something nicer, Sorry, I gotta drink water. Yeah, you had to hear that. Um, let's talk about Scooby-Doo for like a quick second, and then I'm probably gonna move on to epithet raised. Um, Scooby-Doo. Did you know that there's a canonical human design of Scooby-Doo, and I hate it. It looks let me like remind myself what it looks like exactly. Like he's like a fucking I think Shaggy gets like scared by it. Let me look. Yeah, I'm watching the clip. Yeah, he's like screaming. Okay, but basically Scooby's like, dude, keep pest speed, whatever the fuck he says. But it just looks so ugly. The nose is all fucked up. They very much don't fit the style with the other characters. It's like it's like very well noticing that there's like a different design in mind. Like when that's made by different creators. Like a reboot, like you see a reboot. No, maybe the older SpongeBob episodes. Wait, no. The new Powerpuff Girls. Like in compared to the new one and the old one. I don't even know the new one's still running. I have no idea. But with the old one, at least, all the human characters had very like spiked designs and were very geometric. Where the girls were all rounded and cutesy looking. There's like a bit of an elemental contrast going on there. But with the new one, everyone's rounded, so everyone looks the same. It's kind of like the opposite of that problem, because the Scooby-Doo cast seemingly has a very distinct. I don't want to say palette, but I'm gonna say design maybe. Um, they all they all have like these like particular eyes and particular noses and face like head shapes especially and body types. And then you got this like big necked like very stylized human version of Scooby Doo with like a giant fucking nose. And everyone else looks in style of the show except the Scooby thing. The Scooby guy looks awful. I've seen better versions of it. Um, and to be fair, they're all done in different art styles. They're not done in the Scooby Doo art style, so you'd have to kind of test it by that. Oh, did does anyone also, by the way, remember the fuck, I don't even remember what it was called. It was the Seth MacFarlane looking one. Let me look it up. I know he like was definitely not a part of the production of that show, but I mean I don't think he was a part of it. Oh no, I think he was actually a part of it. Well, at least according to this one post that says Seth MacFarlane presents. I don't really know. I'm only basing it off of that singular message. But does anyone remember that one? And how odd it looked? Like maybe it was a good show. I don't even know. It could have been really good. But you look at the designs of the characters and how it's like it 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 look okay. It's good. It's actually not that bad for Seth MacFarlane art style. It's actually much more dynamic for that art style when you compare it to how it's drawn in like let's say Family Guy. They actually did have like one of those weird cutaway gags with with Scooby Doo characters in Family Guy. So comparing that to these designs, they're much more stylized. They have more movement and allowance for like more unique poses. But and I get that it's a comedy. You know that has some perks and all that. It just doesn't. Even though it's more dynamic, that the style doesn't really look as pleasing. I don't know how good the show even is, but um, they all just kind of. I don't want to say blend together, but you, they don't have the same stylistic fun to them, I guess. And that's saying a lot because it's just these Scooby-Doo characters. They don't, I mean, they are stylized, but they have very, at least Shaggy anyway, has very basic design. Also, I guess maybe Velma. I guess the best design-wise would be with the Scooby-Doo characters is Mystery Incorporated. I believe that's what that one's called. I have to watch that. I I only watched like clips of it when I was little, but I know it's a good show. The only thing that would probably detract me is the kind of the weird like like okay, so Velma in that show is like like confirmed gay or lesbian for a character called Hot Dog Water. And but the weird thing is that before that, she's dating one of the cast, Shaggy, and it's weird first off, and second off, excuse me, it's very toxic, and it's as I've watched from a video explained, it's not fun watching a toxic relationship. It's it's uncomfortable at most. Um, so yeah, people, some that kind of stops people sometimes from watching it. But everyone in that show though, back on my point, everyone in that show though has very nice designs. Um, like I like Velma's how they had a little bow on her. Like they're all the same designs, but I guess it's just the line art and the way that they drew them is what fascinates me personally. Oh yeah, I guess Daphne really does have those weird like arrow and fucking parts of her shoe. Sorry, I'm getting distracted just looking at designs because it's actually kind of fun looking at designs. Did you know that there was a bootleg adult movie? Um, I have to remember what it's called, but it's all edgy and shit. Like Shaggy is like legit stoner. Scooby is just a fucking dog, and that's it. And fuck, what was the thing with the other ones? I don't remember what the gimmick was. I think it was called Saturday morning Saturday morning mystery. Yeah. And instead of solving like ghost shit, they were like solving a satanic cult or something. That seems like a if you could handle it. Seems like a movie that you could at least joke around with. Oh my god, even in the back of the cover they're aware of it. They say, when a foursome of paranormal detectives who happen to travel in a vintage van accompanied by their canine companion sound familiar, realize their business is on the rocks, they agree to investigate a creepy mansion with a mysterious past. Set more on debunking a hoax rather than ghosts. The team then awaits them in the dark, and more terrifying and a lot deadlier than anything they could have expected. Oh my god. Oh my god. They were aware that they're fucking ripping it off. Yet, yet, yet they're doing it anyway. Okay. Oh my god. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna stop looking at clips. By the way, though, one more thing I want to say. In the Scooby-Doo wiki, Fred's description says Freddy Jones is the leader of the Mystery Inc. gang and is, more often than not, the driver of their van, the Mystery Machine. Fred is statuesque and brave, everything the group's other male human member, Shaggy Rogers, isn't. It's like, whoa, why'd you have to roast Shaggy like that? That's kind of harsh. Why'd you gotta roast him? And it's funny because in that particular page, because there's a lot of iterations and wiki pages of just fucking Fred. Uh, it even like later on notes that he is a coward and a wimp, and he just hides it by acting cool. And it's like, come on, why'd you have to do him like that? Why'd you have to do Shaggy like that? Anyway, gotta think about epithet of race now. Did you know that? Actually, no. First up, do you even know about epithet erased? I Should I pitch the show to you? It's a good show. It's all on YouTube if you want to watch it. It's really good. it's okay. I'm not actually gonna advertise it, but if you don't know what it is, the idea is that there's Mundies and epithets. Epithets have powers based on a particular word. So, like, let's say someone with the ability noodle. They could make their body really noodly, or they can manipulate and summon noodles. Or they're, I don't know, maybe, I have no idea how else to insert noodles, but that'd be an example of an ability, potentially. I'm not as skilled. The main character has an ability called Dumb, which dumbs either pain, intelligence, or sound. That might help a little better. But the first season is all on the first on Verve. I think it's still on Verve. I don't have Verve. And the YouTube stuff is on Jello Apocalypse channel. So you can see from episode 1 to 7. Now, they're getting a full-length novel and audiobook called Epithet Erased: Prison of Plastic, which involves the main character's sister. And that I'm very excited for. Even if it's in the form of an audiobook or a novel, it's still really interesting to see these just see these characters again because it's a very fun universe to play with. And it got me wanting to DM a version of my own. And there is like official, semi-official. It's in progress, 1.2. How to play epithets / anime campaign system. That's the original name of it, by the way. Anime campaign system. The only problem is that a lot of it is very freeform. It's very up to the DM what they want. So that's something you gotta be tricky with. But I want to try it. So, well, if people want to do it anyway. I want to try it, see what I can do. If not, I'm gonna try just making a sheet anyway, just to get a feel for how that works. You know. There's a lot of other things done with that creator too, though. A lot of dubs. There. So this is basically as fun. I like their abridged Hamtaro. Um, there's the Welcome to series, which I suppose that just depends on whether you like them or not. Um, but I also like side series more so. Stuff like the Miles is a Robot, Miles is on Fire, experimental things like let's make an Animal Crossing game. Or let's make a Pokemon game. Stuff like that. That stuff's interesting. But I was thinking about some of those epithets, and I'm like, what if I just designed a Mundy? Mundies in the context of the show are people without powers. I don't know if I already said that. I probably already did. I already forgot. Um, and I was designing a Mundi character who was like this supposedly world class inventor. When he's reality, he is really good at inventing. But he's not like world class or anything. He just comes from a rich family. That's about it, you know. Um, but I was thinking about that and I was like, that could be a fun character. That could be a fun villain character that's very silly, not very serious. I got a I got another character that I would have to make a sheet for. His epithet would be Cube. He can make like various cubes. They're all a bit. He can only make them like a particular size. It's like, well, the biggest it could be is probably the size of like a Minecraft brick, and the smallest it could be, I would say, is like dice, like typical, like six-sided dice. That's about it. And they can also like have different qualities to them. And what the quality of that cube is though is completely random, and he has no control over it. So he could have a cactus cube, but he could also have a water cube. And the water just splashes over something, and it doesn't do anything unless the person's on fire, I guess. Which even then, I don't know if the fire's really gonna do anything. But it was an ability like that. He was more of like a final boss character. So he could be interesting. He'd be definitely more like general conversion and talking rather than battles. By the way, um, I forgot what I was gonna say. This is all again. This is very experimental. I don't have a format. I don't want to set myself to like a particular topic because for me anyway, I like it more when the people are either they're limited to some kind of topic that has a broad array of things to say, like cartoons. There's like a million different types of cartoons, or video games. There's all sorts of video games out there, and different ways you can talk about them. Um, I don't like designing. I don't want to make myself too limited to a topic, but I also don't know if I want to give myself a topic at all. Because I almost find it more interesting when the people derail and talk about nonsense based on a general thing that they were talking about. Um, so this is just me talking to myself. Again, the title. Let's talk about Pokemon. Pokemon has a very difficult history, to say the least. Um, the problem is that sorry, getting water. Problem is that Pokemon is like I don't know. Many people say that the worst part of Pokemon is when they shifted to 3D, and that like a lot of the models are just like cut and copy and paste the old models like continuously. Like the X and Y Pikachu is probably the same thing as the Sword and Shield Pikachu, just tweaked a little so it could fit the hardware differently. Um, and while I understand that part anyway, um, the thing is that that's just kind of what you get with that kind of change because in a production 3D models like well 2D is much more easier to manipulate. Like this is why I prefer 2D animation over 3D because in 3D you have to worry about like the model rig, making sure it doesn't clip and clop and fuck up or like bend with other things or move in a way that fucks up with the shadows or the lighting renderings and all that. I don't really know 3D terms. I'm yeah. So you kind of lose that uniqueness because you're very focused on like making a product and as quickly as you possibly could. Maybe people don't actually mind that. I just remember seeing people who had problems with that. And you're just not gonna go get those nice sprites anymore when you move to 3D because there's never gonna be that uniqueness anymore. Because when you think about the Pokemon is just gonna be that model because it'd be easier just to reuse that model rather than make an entirely new and unique model. You know, again, maybe no one actually has problems with that. At least this is just from memory. Um, Another one is just graphics in general. Like, graphics are weird because, like, on one hand, a lot of people I hear this from, like, they don't like it when people complain about graphics. Like, for example, I don't remember what game it was, but it was one of those like games that were most likely going for some sense of realism, and it was like it was an FPS game. I don't remember what it was called, but it's like a fruit stand, and the guy would shoot at it, and it wouldn't do anything except create these like fake ass bullet holes until like a certain amount of time, and then it would go bloop, and it would explode a little, and the fruit wouldn't be gone. And it's like people thought, some people were like, well, wow, there's no realism here. I could just shoot this a few times and it'll make fake ass bullet holes and explode. Woo! And people who are arguing against it, these people who some of them I find don't really like the Sword and Shield stuff. um, are like, well, why do you care? It's just I'm more impressed by the fact that it let me shoot those things. and it exploded and it had a particular reaction to my gun. I'd rather have that than have no reaction at all, you know? That's fine. Like, I get that. I agree with that also. I I guess I'm a little stuck on what people are bugged about with the graphics. There's no doubt graphical issues. I think the trees were the biggest one. And well, I'm not like I guess it's difficult because I don't really care as much about graphics. Like everyone cares about graphics to a degree, different degrees, but to a degree. And with how the era is progressing, like obviously if someone logically if someone who wanted to compare the SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom to the rehydrated version, excuse me, they'd be like they'd be stuck, you know, cuz sorry, burping. They'd be a little annoyed. They'd be stuck with this if it was stuck looking the same way, but it just happened to work on the Switch now, they'd be a little annoyed. Not only because it's a remake and you're kind of expected to have nicer quality stuff, but also on the sense that, you know, today is this era, and the Switch is much. These current day items are capable of much better models and lighting and quality. Why would you stick with the original GameCube game, which made SpongeBob have this weird mustard yellow with this desaturated colors that not a lot of people liked? I didn't mind it, but then again, I don't. It's harder for me to pay attention to graphics if I'm really into the game. The, I guess the problem is that like with the game and the story and the gameplay, there are elements that kind of have to work together, and that's tricky. Like if you look at like art, for example, you might not like the meaning behind it. You might not like the title. Well, actually, no. You know what's a better idea? A song. You might not like the melody. I've had things where I was like looking for melodies that would fit my character, so I could get a general feel for them. And when I like bouncy songs, like not necessarily bouncy and upbeat, but more like the beat is very consistent. I don't like slow beats. I don't like slow songs. They bug me. They bore me. I skip them. Yet when I read the lyrics, I will say that song fits the character. Let me listen to the song now. And it'll just be so boring, and I don't want to listen to it, and I'll skip it. I have a low attention span to a degree. But, like, it's a bit like that. Everyone has different preferences, first off. That goes towards my comparison. I don't like slow songs. Some people really like slow songs. Um, like, if the song and the lyrics don't work together, well, you have a nice melody, and I'd be like that. You have a nice melody, which I would kind of maybe I would give either towards gameplay or graphics. But I don't like your lyrics, which could either go towards gameplay or story. So what do? Do I listen to a karaoke version of your song? Do I not listen to your song and hate it? There was this one Vocaloid song, for example, I remember. Um and the lyrics of the song were like really dirty and gross. But the beat of it was really nice sounding. And when I was a little kid, I listened to that song. Luckily I would never repeat it. But the lyrics were really bad, and I eventually learned that, and I was like, oh, I shouldn't listen to that anymore, should I? So I stopped listening to it. Then again, I do now hum and like softly sing like songs that are not inappropriate in like the sense they're sexual, like that Vocaloid song I listened to, but more that they're like probably not things children should be listening to. This one's not. This one doesn't have like I was listening to the Jack Films holiday songs, and I was kind of like they got in my head. There was one that goes candy canes, look 'em to a spear and kill your enemies, stab 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 stab. It's like, well, kids can't hear that. Also another one, Santa ain't real, screw the hell up. Santa ain't real, so grow the hell up. Oh, Santa ain't real, so grow the hell up. Santa ain't real, grow up. Again, um, songs obviously children shouldn't be listening to. One incites violence and the other one tells them their hopes and dreams are shattered. But they're very catchy and they get stuck in my head. So maybe I'm a big ass hypocrite. But that's kind of my feelings about video games. They're kind of like songs. And for me, I can tolerate lyrics if they fit a character. Or I can tolerate it and it won't bug me. I can either skip it or I could try to ignore it. Graphics are like that towards me. So I never really minded the graphics of Pokemon Sword and Shield. They didn't really bug me. I didn't feel any way about them. They were just like, oh, they look okay. I mean, are they comparable to like Pokemon Black and White? Well, no, first off, because that game's pixel art. But those games had very nice environments. I'm sure if those were 3D, people would love those. Probably people just don't like these designs, I guess. Mostly the wild area. But there's other things to not like about Pokemon Sword and Shield. The characters, for starters. Um, I don't think the story or the characters are like something to scorn over and like despise. But do I like them and think they're really memorable? Eh. I mean, there's some characters I like. I like more of the DLC characters, which is maybe not a good thing. Like I like Peony. He's funny. He's a dumb dad, and I like dumb characters. I like. Is he technically a himbo? I would say so. You could fight me on that, but there's also Leon. He was alright. I think he was an alright character. He definitely could have had more to him, but I liked him. I think there was definitely way more rivals than was needed. So much that not a lot of them got screen time. Like the goth one, Marine. I think that's what her name was. It's probably saying that I don't remember her fucking name. Um, I don't think I even really remembered anything she did except it. No, I really don't remember. Well, she helped me break into the dark gem. That was really the only thing. And I feel like if you really wanted me to get into the dark gem, you could have just had the character break into the dark gem, like find a way. It couldn't have been hard. Like you could have had Hop find it for all you fucking cared. And I didn't. I don't mind Hop. Hop is. I know a lot of people fucking hate Hop more than I expected, but Hop's not terrible. I feel like Hop could be written better potentially, because I like the idea of a character whose brother or father or anything or some kind of family member is a part of like a gym leader or an elite four or even the fucking champion. That's really exciting. That could be a really fun arc for a character, kind of figuring out their own path in a sense. I like that aspect of Hop. And I didn't mind necessarily the ending, and I actually kind of like the idea that he ended up not being a gym leader. He ended up actually being a Pokemon professor. I like that. But the way it was executed, at least in the starting few scenes and stuff like that, I just didn't really care for. I don't mind Hop as much as everyone else does. He's just a dude, you know? I didn't hate his design either, but would I say he's well written? No, not really. He needs improvement. Lastly, Bede. Bede was alright. I think Bede also kind of falls in similar problems. Um, Someone who's endorsed by someone who works for the champion. That's exciting. Someone who thinks that through their past struggles, they're giving this big opportunity, and of course they're gonna take it for all it is and probably try to scare people away because they really want this thing and really want to prove the guy proud. Was he well written? Eh. He has stuff with the I don't know. Um, it's a little difficult because a lot of his arc stuff is off screen, aka without the player looking at it. And do I care about that? No. Theoretically, it brings up a lot of fan interpretations and allows a lot of fan art, theoretically. But he's a little obnoxious sometimes. I like his design. His design's my favorite out of the three. And I kind of like the idea of him being this rich guy, well, seemingly rich boy. But fun fact, I made characters that were like semi based off Hap and Beatty, more the Beatty guy. The Beatty guy, though, he was actually related to the evil team of the fake region I made with a friend, and he he was like running away from it almost, but he also forgot because they erased his memory about him being related to the bad guys. For all he knows, his mom's just a very rich lady who owns some kind of corporation that runs with the members of the Elite Four. And she's also the champion. Yep, the champion's the bad guy. That's a common trope in Pokemon, but who cares? It's a little different, maybe. But Pokemon has like Pokemon can be a hit or miss. I don't know if people care about Sun or Moon or not. I definitely don't think that Ultra Sun and Moon were necessary. Either make that the main games or because really all it was minor differences. Like, oh no, instead of the legendaries, Necromancer's here. Oh no. And it had a lot of cool features, but why didn't it just be the first game? Why didn't you just make this like either DLC or like I don't fucking know, not make this a separate game? Because there's not a like despite all of the new things, it's not enough to make it a separate game. Like when I think a separate game, definitely don't think this. And did it need to be two different varieties? Every time Pokemon would do this shit in the past, all they would usually go two routes. They would either go how Black and White did by making it a continuation of the first game story. This is my preferred solution. That way, it allows new storylines but also allowing developers to make their new concepts that they want for the game. But it's all set in the same world, so theoretically, you can somewhat reuse designs. The story is just different. And then there's also the general approach, which usually, at most, the biggest difference is that it allows a few more different legendaries, or the story focuses, at least at some point, on another legendary. Like, for example, Diamond and Pearl, it still has a point to, like, talk about Giratina in those games, which Giratina is my favorite legendary. By the way, fun fact. He's one of my favorite Well, I say he, but really it's like a Pokemon like that probably go by any pronoun I would say. So I would probably use he they. I didn't mean to go on pronoun talk, but Giratina is my fave. But there was already involvement of that Pokemon in Diamond and Pearl. Like I mean, do you really need spoilers for these games? I guess don't cover your ears a little bit. If you don't want to hear it, I guess. I don't fucking know. Cyrus, or whatever his name is, I forget. It's been a while. That's more on me for forgetting. He wants to go to the Distortion Realm, so he summons Giratina. Giratina drags him in. This happens in both this game and Platinum. The only difference is that Platinum, you kind of get more opportunities to catch Giratina, I'd say. And I don't remember either Giratina's higher leveled in Diamond and Pearl or Giratina's lower leveled in Diamond and Pearl. I do not remember. It's one of those two, though. And, like, I don't really care for much of that approach. Like, I didn't really care for, like, for Emerald. I know that these are all, like, staple titles. But if I'm given, like, 3 games, I can do Ruby, Sapphire, or Emerald. I'm just gonna pick up Emerald because It's kind of similar, you know? And with I believe in some of the Ruby and Sapphire remakes, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm probably wrong, because I wasn't really, I'm not into the Hoenn region, I'll be honest. I I always hated all the water travel. I know that's a fucking meme on, well, dead meme, but meme on IGN, too much water. But I really did hate all the sections I'd have to go on water. I think just in Pokemon in general, I don't like going in water. I don't like surfing around places. I also am glad that there's no HMs and TMs. I don't know why it took them so long to get rid of those. Um, but yeah, I don't really get why, if they were gonna do two different games, why didn't they just have it be like White and Black, where it was a continuation? I guess because it would take longer, but like, mm, I like the characters in that game though. They're. It's probably my favorite characters. I know people are probably gonna really disagree with me on that. Um, don't get me wrong. Black and White has probably the best story writing. I just like Guzma because he's a fucking dumbass. I like dumb characters. And I don't mean dumb in like a himbo sense. Just like they're a fucking dork. And I guess Guzman probably not the best description of him. I also like angry characters. Maybe that's a little more fitting for him. I like aggressive characters, but aggressive in the sense that can be used comedically and non-comedically. Like the one where it's like, for example, I got like in D&D, I got a guy named Garrus. He is a revenge paladin. It's funny because his original plan was actually a lot more stoic, but then I was like, I want to make an angry character. He's more funny if I make him angry. Um, from where he's from, they're all about like conquering and winning battles. His mother was a barbarian, to give you an idea. And he also looks up to his mom a lot, to give you a bigger idea. He's like a royal dude, though. He's like literally a prince. Not that he tells his party that, though, because his village got burned down and his kingdom was destroyed. Not when he was ruling, I should add, but that affected him. Now he's just either stoic or I want to cut someone's head off. That's a signature move. But he's just so angry, and he's also like, sometimes his opinions are right and what people should be listening to, but the way he says it, no one wants to listen to him because he kind of makes himself out to be a jackass. Characters like that are fun for me because it's like you can interpret them a lot. You can have fun with writing them because they're. I admit. I guess it depends on how, to the extent, of course. But characters like that are my faves, if done properly. And I guess Guzma like doesn't. Of course, is not Garrus, but he does have this angry character attitude and mannerisms to him. So I liked him. I also like Team Skull too, because it was a team that not many people actually really, in the game, context of the game, took seriously. They were just kind of fucking goofy, and they were like hooligans. But they all had like a very close knitted community because they all kind of genuinely were going towards the same goal. They weren't being manipulated. They weren't doing this because I don't fucking know why, etc., etc. By the way, I think Sun and Moon's my favorite of the games. I do not remember. I believe so. But there is just some other games that are really good though. Like I really like Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I of course love Black and White. Who couldn't love those games? They're really good. My least favorites though. X and Y would be my top because it's just boring. I don't have fun playing that game. I haven't touched it since I completed it. And while I enjoy the thing is like you play X and Y and you don't really think about it until you're finished with it. And then you're like, actually that game was kind of boring. Like, I drew this thing based on the credits song because I liked that. And it looks all pretty and stuff, but the story's boring. I don't know why the villain's doing the things he's doing, really. It's probably one of the worst motivations. And he's also just not a fun character. There's no twist factor to him. At least Giovanni had a twist factor. And he also had some, like, relation in the second gen, to a degree. But the villain, I don't even remember his name. That's telling. I don't remember a lot of the characters' names in that game. That's also telling. The Pokemon designs, I think they're the best. The best part of that game. They're really good. I actually like them. But do I like the characters, the story? And it feels like a lot of the time in that game they were throwing things at the wall to see kind of what stuck. And I mean they all stuck, but they never actually like developed on them. They just kind of kept it there to rot, and like kind of the smell got worse. And it's like the villain, he wants to like recreate the world and make it beautiful or some shit, I don't know. It's like, cool. If you don't develop on that, you just sound like a bootleg Cyrus. Except this guy wants to make everything beautiful, whatever that means. Where Cyrus had more of a clear goal on what he wanted. At least Cyrus was clear. It was also kind of interesting how he was like manipulating everyone. And how he was like one step forward almost. You're just a weird fashion dude. And you're focused on like the beauty. Ooh. It's not cute, honey. Go home. Go home to your fashion degree. The champion's not very interesting. She has a nice design, if I'm remembering correctly. But what did she have to do? I mean, the news reporter lady was a part of the evil team. Wow. I got so connected to her. And totally just didn't think she was hot. No, that pun's not intentional. But yeah, the characters suck. There's only like one character that's kind of interesting, and it's the one that like is a side plot that relates to a character from previous games. Looker, maybe that was the interesting. Well, there is one more other interesting character. It's AB, but his story is not really fleshed out enough. He feels like more of like a rough idea that the guys thought, oh, that'd be cool, and then they didn't flesh it out properly. Or at least in a way where it was like made sense. Like I remember someone in their video talking about Pokemon. They slightly mentioned his plot, and it's like, I just want to catch a Bulbasaur. And it's like, guess because the writers didn't make it fun for you. Because deep plots can be fun. There's deep plots in many very simple seeming games, like Super Paper Mario. That game is terrifying. That game goes through a lot of dark topics. Like, the stuff with Blick and Tippy. That shit's dark. Dark. And the whole world ends. And you the player, as a kid, have to deal with an entirely destroyed world that you were just in. Like, you have connection to this world that was destroyed in front of you. You watched it kind of burn and decay in your arms, and you could do nothing about it. And it affects you. That stage affects you, because all it is hollow. There's remnants of the buildings that were once there. Everything's like outlines and white. And sure, you fight Mr. L at the end of that stage, but the impact that like this originally like glorious like samurai battles tournament thing is now just rubble is like scary. But it was all about the way that it was executed was what really stuck to people. people who like that game anyway. It's and I feel like Pokemon could do something really impactful if they wanted to. It's just they haven't done it correctly, you know? And also another fun thing. The problem with Pokemon is that they always, at least in the main games, they always feel like they have to have some kind of gimmick with each game. And it's a little tedious. A little. Like, at least that's what I feel with the recent generations. They always feel like they have to have a gimmick. And it's a gimmick that they kind of want to shove down your throat. Like, I didn't mind the dream shit as much because it's not like it was being shoved down my throat. It was in, like, the first few parts of the game, and then we kind of stayed quiet about it. But, like, I mean, Mega Evolution was cool, but we only can have that gimmick in X and Y. That's why they made Gigantamaxing in Pokemon's Sword and Shield. And I get that game was the Gigantamaxing was all a part of the Vital story, but let's be honest, they could have rewritten that. Because, like, Mega Evolution has a lot of story potential because it's fucked up and actually hurts the Pokemon. Most of the time, anyway. You could have made some interesting stories with that. But you didn't. Instead, you went with Gigantamaxing, which, don't get me wrong, Gigantamaxing's fine. It could be fun. But was it necessary? No, not really. I don't think so, anyway. I mean, aesthetically, purely speaking aesthetically, it has similar concepts to Mega Evolution. A character gets this buffed or changed version of their stats and abilities, but can only do it in battle. And I guess at least it made interesting raid battles. But Mega Evolution just is like one thing that happened and then you got rid of it. And the same thing with Z Crystals. Like, they gave everyone unique moves, and then we just kind of forgot about it. Hey, there's a little bit of a pause or anything, or if my voice seems a little weird. Like, wow, we just moved from one point to the minute, and you sound like you were gone for like a second or two. That's because, um, I was gone for a second. But, but, yeah. So I gotta figure out where I am. I gotta figure out where I was at, and maybe talk about probably something else. Knowing me, I get on one thing and then I get on the other. Hop like a train. So what do you guys think of Trivia? Guess people aren't into it. I mean, some people are like into it, some people aren't. Mm. Sorry, I got distracted. Okay, now I'm not gonna get distracted. Well, I probably will. I shouldn't. Look, I shouldn't jinx myself, but let's talk about games. There's a lot of games I've wanted to develop, and I can't. Programming is difficult. Um, like, I've installed RPG Maker, got frustrated with it, and then got rid of it. To be fair, RPG Maker, according to the things I've read and seen, are not the best program. Despite the fact that many people, like, I don't know, use the program and all that, it's not perfect. And you gotta do a lot of code manipulation to even do, like, simple things. There's a lot of games I've wanted to develop, though. Like, I'm trying to think of ones that wouldn't be a spoiler. I mean, there's of course the cartoon one I really wanted to develop, which, you know, I I still want to, but I kind of can't because I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know how to do any of that, and also maybe the game wouldn't be possible. I have to plan a lot. Um, I was already trying to plan a story, and I'm taking like a small break from it to just get my creative juices back, tingling. Um, I've wanted to write the cartoon one, and I still kind of do. The problem comes when you, you my father says that you can like use any medium really to tell a story. But do I agree with that notion? Not necessarily, because the way the media is done can really affect how the person eats it up. And I'm worried almost that it wouldn't the idea I have in my head wouldn't really work as a cartoon because it focuses a lot on like different art styles and different like combat and stuff like that. And while comic would be really fun to do, could I do that on a story basis? I'm not sure. Especially with a lot of elements I want to go for. I don't want it to be like a gaming comic because it's not really a gaming comic. It more focuses on cartoons. At the same time, they're all fighting and using RPG like mechanics. So it's difficult. I tried making sprites even once, and it was difficult because the sprite sheets did not want to cooperate with me exactly. So that sucked. I do have all these characters though, and I had really fun designing them, and I still have ideas for their personality, but I don't know if I could work that into a different style or not. And I'm figuring that out. I'm figuring out if I can even do that. That's what's tricky. I have a reverse thing with another story I do. It's about like the three siblings. The older brother, who's like kind of a punk and like is the rebel teen of the family. There's the middle weird kid who he always ends up accidentally in trouble. And he's like into like cosplay and D&D and stuff like that. And then there's the last one. The last one is like the younger girl, and she's like the spoiled little girl who's really smart and like manipulative. But they're not none of them are bad people or anything. They just have flaws. But the idea was that it focused a lot on family. Like for example, in their designs, all of them have some means or another of this red color. That's supposed to be like design wise symbolic of like blood and like blood relating to like the idea of connections. Um, not to be a not to be a dirty referencer, um, but that was kind of the idea with their design. The characters in this particular family would all have some sort of red in their design, and they were moving to this new town, and like it would focus a lot on like how family can be like work in a lot of different ways. Because a lot of media I see where they talk about family, it's just like family always sticks together. And while that is a part of the theme, there's there's also a theme of like bad parents and bad family. Like the parents of the kids, their parents are arguably not that great. And they all have their different little conflicts. And they also talk about like how hiding things can be really troubling for a family. Like it can cause some spur or drama. And I wouldn't know that this isn't all just a slice of life. It just has like an underlying theme of family, but it focuses on fantasy elements. Well, not really fantasy, but basically the town they go to has like just like a bunch of monsters in disguising as humans mostly. Like there's like the older boys like love interest. She's like a siren lady, like a cheerful siren gal. Um, it's just stuff like that. They encounter monsters a lot. I guess you can kind of compare it to Gravity Falls in a sense, but there's also this underlying villain that is like a part of this like kind of worldwide like maintainer of like this knowledge in these creatures, but they don't do it exactly in a justifiable way. They're actually even pretty cruel to the species that they're so-called protecting. They're more protecting like humanity than these creatures and humanity. Despite technically being a part of those creatures, whatever. That I don't want to spoil too much on the story, but that's kind of the basics. So most of it would involve like each of the kids and their like somewhat individualized adventures. I wouldn't make it like an A B plot most of the time. I'd probably keep that as minimum as I can, only if the stories can connect. If they can't connect, then I'm not the writer though. I gotta just figure out how I would want to do that. The kids though would focus a lot on either their dynamics or like their dynamics with their parents or their dynamic with this new neighborhood they moved into, which is supposedly their mom's hometown. And at first the kids don't like it, but then they later like it. You know, connecting to roots or whatever. But that's the idea. Now that one, I can see that going through a multiple couple of medias. It could go in a comic. I don't think that'd be too weird. I could put it into TV show too. That would be fine, you know. I'm a little more universal with what I want out of that. But that's just me talking about uh like I don't mean to bring up a kind of somewhat controversial game. Um Omori. Uh that game had to shift to a comic. That game went from a comic to a game because the creator thought that the story would be much better visualized through a comic. I mean, not visualized through a comic. It better be through a game. Blah. So they worked on Omori, the game, and I'm gonna ignore the controversies for that point, because there's a lot to say about the development itself. But you know, it kind of works towards my analogy here on working whether what kind of medium works best with a story. Sometimes things are easier to say through animation. Sometimes things easier to say through comics. Sometimes it's easier to even just write it as a book. I've definitely tried writing, and I definitely wondered if writing would be an option. Writing's a little difficult, but it's to a degree necessary. I gotta definitely practice it more. I'm stretching. You could obviously tell based on my voice, probably. But yeah, that's a bit of a personal ramble. I know we were talking about Pokemon, but fuck it. Let's talk about other things. I am all over the place. I'm talking about NFTs, art, video games, you name it. Speaking of cartoons, let's talk about cartoons. Let's talk about SpongeBob. SpongeBob's a interesting character. I think SpongeBob. I grew up pretty much on SpongeBob, so like, random fucking SpongeBob knowledge is pretty easy. I guess I know Powerpuff Girls a little more than SpongeBob, but I definitely grew up on SpongeBob, especially SpongeBob video games. I remember when I was really little, my mother would play Battle for Bikini Bottom, and she would try to beat it, and I would just watch her play it. I only can remember, like, vaguely her trying to beat SpongeBob. Oh, hiccups. Oh no. But I can vaguely remember her trying to beat the SpongeBob robot and failing. And she kind of gave up. And that's when, like, when I figured out. By the way, I have a copy of this game. Just want to say for legal reasons. When I emulated I had some. My goal was essentially to beat the game. And I wasn't really good at the SpongeBob robot part. It was always really difficult for me when it came to firing the missiles. That was always my least favorite aspect of that stage. Did not like it. I probably still don't. But, it's still a fun game. I would say that game's very classic. Um, I know a lot of pointless shit about that game though. Like, there's a tree texture, Jellyfish Fields. According to a developer, it's just actual shit. but like tinted green. According to the developer, take one of the developers. Take it with a grain of salt. But that's hilarious. And don't even get me started on SpongeBob Super Sponge. That game is batshit crazy. At least development-wise, the game is actually kind of piss poor. But it's just funny how it was a fucking dumpster fire. Um, there's like I don't feel like anyone working on that game wanted to work on it. I think they were all they they were all very bitter. It's not like they're a bad company necessarily either, because they made some good games. They made well, okay, I guess some of the games you can debate with me whether you think they're good or not, to be fair, but there was this one game, I haven't played it. I need to actually play it again. I don't have a copy of it though, and my Wii is old and terrible. Um, it's called Overlord Dark Minions, I believe. And it was like a semi-puzzle game, I think. But I remember really liking it. The idea was that you were a villain. You had these the minions. And they all had different like aspects to them. Like the red ones were fire. The blue ones were water. The green ones I don't think did anything. Etc. etc. But it was I remember Little Red Riding Hood in the game, so I guess it might have had some fairy tale theme. I need to watch gameplay of it at some point. I don't remember. But they developed that. They developed Silent Hill Shattered Memories, which, you know, a lot of people think that game's actually kind of good. Maybe not the best gameplay wise, but people liked it. Don't play the Wii version, probably. Maybe. Hmm. But I know people at least like the story of that game. Mm. Anyway. It's not like that company was like a bad company, though. They just really, I think, hated working on that game. And it went through a lot of different development. Like at one point they were gonna make it 3D completely with like these very PS1 quality, because that's what the console it came out on, I think, was these PS1 quality graphics, which were really bad. And then I guess they wanted to go towards more stylized 3D. Um, they basically I think this is what they did anyway. I am not an expert. With SpongeBob, they rendered the 3D model and then they like I think maybe drew every part of the model. I think. Because there's characters like Plankton. Plankton in that game, he does not fit the 2D render that all of the other characters fit. He's a 3D model and he looks like a fucking marketable plushie in the way that he's standing. And he looks like garbage. He is not outlined and done similar to how everyone else in the game is. He is just a 3D model that they probably did not want to draw a drawing of. But based on him and comparing him to SpongeBob, who has very 3D elements to his design, I think that they rendered the model, drew over it, like multiple times. Either that or they had like base frames or something. I don't fucking know. But I feel like that's what they did, based on the way SpongeBob is drawn in that game. This is only a guess. I'm stupid. I don't understand game design. So I'm most likely wrong. But that's my guess. That game's a monster though. The game development wise. I mean, gameplay wise it sucks too, but like they have like a Superman cosplayer in the files with the eyes and mouth are cut out for some reason. I don't even need to get into the naughty files. I don't want to get into the naughty files. I don't know why they were drawn. I guess it's because it's a dirty joke, but like, come on, dude. Stuff like that. And to note, I think that last one was in a prototype. But still, Jesus. Um, I remember I grew up very much also on the PC games, which were not considerably worse. They're not like I'm sure like they're not they're not good games. but I love them. And I love playing them. And I think they're like they're like these very basic but for me charming point and click games. I think the only one I didn't really care for, okay, either they're mini game collections, or they're point and click games. I hated Battle for Bikini Bottom on the PC because it was a mini game collection, and that was it. And it like loosely drew stuff together with some cutscenes. It's not that great. You could tell it was right after they reused assets from Play of the Month, at least with SpongeBob's model. Um, SpongeBob Employee of the Month. That game was good. I like that one. It's very bare bones. You just go on these multiple things, but it's really fun. I like playing it. It's not the graphics are not necessarily the best though. I mean, have you seen the cutscenes? Ooh, they're definitely not good. And I have like a blog where I just take pictures of random things from SpongeBob games. I just like paste them, and it's funny because oh god, especially from those old games. The Battle for Bikini Bottom also had cutscenes, but they only really had cutscenes at the start and finish. With like some, yeah, it was at the start and finish. So you didn't really you didn't focus on them as much. You definitely did focus on them though. And there's Operation Krabby Patty. That was very, I don't want to say, I don't know necessarily it's a minigame collection the same way Battle for Bikini Bottom is, but it is still a minigame collection to a degree. Very much to a degree. The cutscenes are funny though. Um, I remember in the wrong side, especially, there's just the wrong side in that game is fucking weird. It feels like a fucking acid trip. Like, SpongeBob is listening to a cassette of Plankton telling him that he kidnapped his pet Gary, and SpongeBob is like sweating and going like that, with his fucking tongue all long and shit, and he's fanning himself, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing, SpongeBob? In a later cutscene, he's out with Squidward. Squidward's laughing like Patrick, and he's like, "Hey, why do you Hey Squidward, why do you sound like Patrick?" And Squidward takes off his head, and fucking Patrick's head like loosely there, which wouldn't make sense if it was Patrick, because it's not. Um, because it's such a thin outfit. So Patrick's like, "Cause it's really me." And the way he says it does not sound like Patrick, and then you're like, "Oh my god." But after that cutscene though, Patrick was like, "Why do you sound like actor?" And I forget what the name is. And it was they changed the head I think to a fit generic fish, and then they cut to Squidward, and Squidward's like, "Would you believe the look on your face? I really got you there, SpongeBob." And I was like, "Oh my god, what is this game?" I didn't play the game. I should note that. I don't really care for the gameplay aspect of it. The cutscenes are really the best thing about the game. Because they're just so weird. But anyway, let's talk about another thing in the game. Another thing in SpongeBob games. Let's talk about the PC port of the movie, which actually came out before Lights Camera Pants. I didn't know that. I grew up on Lights Camera Pants especially, so I just assumed that that one came first. Not the case. The movie game is a very, like, I don't want to say generic, but it's a normal like point and click with some elements that are a little off from the movie. I guess they kind of had to do it, but fun fact, there's a Did You Know Gaming video, and they show a version of Patrick in like his undies with like Goofy Goober underpants. That is, despite I know it says I believe they say it in the video that it's from the PC port, but for some reason the background video is that of like the GameCube game, and it like threw me off because it was like, what? That's not in the GameCube game. That's definitely not in the GameCube game. That's in the PC one. I know that because I checked the cutting room floor. But that's a side note. The PC port is like a kind of a generic kind of thing. They have a weird thing at the end. You know how like the characters like fry up under the lamp in Shell City, and like their tears about the Goofy Goober song short circuit the wires and bring them back to life. Um, Instead, for some reason, Patrick's unaffected by the lamp. He somehow is able to just get up, but SpongeBob can't. I I don't understand the logic behind that. Like, and then SpongeBob, Patrick turns to you, the audience, and is like, "We have to save SpongeBob. There's only something I could water him with." And it's like, SpongeBob, SpongeBob is fucking dying. Why aren't you dying too? You're also under the lamp. He's just standing under there. It's not like he rolled away or something. It's just like, what? But you like break into the Cyclops, quote unquote. Um, Cyclops like lunchbox, and you steal his onions, and then you cry on SpongeBob. It's like that's the way you fix SpongeBob. it's just it's just like, what? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't go with the movie. I and like, you kind of have to make some like roll arounds when you go to off of official material. Um, that's why it was a little tricky making a SpongeBob movie game, both on the PC and probably the GameCube and the PlayStation. I'm not gonna mention Xbox because that version was broken. Um, you gotta make it tie to the material, but also find a way to spark some creativity. And at least I have to give the PC version a little credit. At least they tried to make sense out of like the still images from the movies. They made it all like a storybook. So it's like, oh, that's not as bad. But but in the fucking GameCube game, they have a spur of like real model cutscenes, and then they mix it with these like really bad and really poorly made um like clip art almost. Like, there's a scene at the end with Plankton, at the very final scene. You can tell that it was taken off of, like, the art near the logo where he's stuck in the fucking bubble and he's screaming. You could tell it's, like, an edited version of it. And they also use fucking, like Microsoft slide animations, and it's like, oh my god. Um, back on the PC port, though, some other fun things. They see a chiropractor. They join in on a rebellion with invertebrates to have the right to see a chiropractor despite not having backbones. They even make a point of that. And you have to get in there. But of course, since you and Patrick are invertebrates, there's no reason for the doctor to be seeing you guys. But you've got to go in there and get some kind of offering from him so you can join the rebellion and prove peace between them or something. Um, in order to do that, you have to steal from like a background art element, which to be fair, I feel like they could have made that a little more clear. You just steal from this background element though, and steal a sea urchin spine, and you just hand it to the receptionist lady and be like, "Oh, here's my spine." She's like, "That's a sea urchin spine." She's like, "Patrick, did this good lady not say that if I brought a spine to her, she would have me treated?" She did. She did. I saw her. It's like, oh, that's funny. That's kind of cute. There were some other things too that were kind of funny. Like, but in the same scene, when you're trying to ask her to see Louie, she's like, "Okay, what's your name?" And SpongeBob's like, "SpongeBob SquarePants." "No, really, what's your name?" "SpongeBob SquarePants." "Do your parents not love you?" "My parents love me very much. Thank you very much. Why do you ask?" It's like, that was funny. I liked that. I liked a lot of the jokes. They were like cute. Fit with the I don't know if it necessarily fit with the theme because SpongeBob's kind of always a jerk in these PC games to an extent, but I liked them. They were funny. There is some weird part where you have to shrink your clothes in order to get into the main base, and you do it by getting to this hot spring. There's a crack with the top hat, and it's a fucking like weird parrot fish thing, and it speaks in like squawks, and it's like, "I dropped my socks in the pool and they're probably shrunk. Oh, jeez." But it's like in a parrot voice. And it's like, why is this character here? I mean, I don't mind this character, but why is he here? There's some other things too. There's a The PC games have some good dialogue in them. Like I remember Employee of the Month, you're supposed to get into like this fancy restaurant, but the guy won't let you in, the bouncer. And when you finally like fake up something in there, the bouncer walks out and lets you in. And she's SpongeBob fucking makes fun of him because he's fucking tiny. It's like, you're a bouncer? Are you sure there's not like four more of you in there? He's like, I'm gonna kick. He doesn't say I'm gonna kick your ass, but the bouncer's like, I'm gonna fucking kick your ass. That's what he essentially says. He doesn't actually say those swear words, but he's like, if you annoy me, I'm gonna beat you up. Essentially, I think that's what happens anyway. He gets pissy with him though. There's a neighborly dispute in one part. In this I don't remember what chapter it was, but it was the one where Sandy crashes her rocket ship. Um, you have to you have to you have to heal this not heal, but like deal with this like argument between this rich neighbor and this like poor rusty old Texas fish dude because he supposedly stole the guy's golden coconut. And everything on the fucking rich guy's house is like gold and platinum, and like the sidewalk is pennies. And it's like the guy's like, well, it's my golden coconut. And the other guy's like, well, it fell on my plot. It's a little ridiculous. You have to get another coconut. All the items in that game, by the way, make noises when you fucking click them. And the regular coconut makes a monkey scream. So that's weird. Another thing is in the first chapter, if you make a full Krabby Patty, before you make the Krabby Patty, there's like a little like a regular patty with meat you find, and the noise it makes, it goes, yeah. SpongeBob's voice, it's so weird. Mr. Krabs is also naked in that game. I'm reminiscing too much about that game. Let's talk about Lights Camera Pants though. That's also there's like I never ever played Lights Camera Pants on the consoles, probably because I don't think it ever did. It come out on GameCube? I don't think it came out on GameCube. Let me see. Maybe it did. GameCube Lights Camera Pants. I'm pretty sure it was PlayStation. Oh. No, it wasn't the GameCube. Well, I never played it. I didn't have the chance to ever play that game. I didn't even know it existed because I thought only the PC version existed, and the PC version's very different. Even the Gil Hammerstein, you know how the Sid sounding motherfucker in the console ports? Well, he sounds very different in the PC games. He also has different mannerisms, and they might as well be different characters. They're very different. The only similar they have is maybe similar clothes and the fact that they're both hammerhead sharks. But basically, no one wants to be a part of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy's stupid show in the PC version of it. So you have to go out and essentially trick people into you either ask or you trick them into signing up for the show. There's a guy, a part of Tentacle Acres, who, after breaking into Tentacle Acres by tricking him into thinking that some hooligan is playing progressive rock, you have to break in doing that. He's like, I'm gonna get fired because of you. He says it in a much boring way. You made me lose my job. I'm gonna get fired because of you. You basically have to be like, well, I mean, since you got fired, you could join my show. And he's like, well, what other choice do I have? You also do stuff like that for doing like actual general favors. Like in order to get Squidward, you have to get him out of Tentacle Acres, but you can only do that by getting him his favorite drink. You can get like the coffee from Tentacle Acres, but there's like this whip that you can't get. And the only way you can get it is by going to the bargain mart section and buying it or finding it more so after dealing with one of the many mini games in that game. Some of the mini games are fine. Other mini games, it's just like I didn't like the Flying Dutchman one. That was so boring. Like the other ones, I also didn't like the Bubble Bass one. Not Bubble Bass. Bub the Dirty Bubble. I didn't really care for the Dirty Bubble one. Dirty Bubble one was just kind of there. It also just kind of randomly happens, it feels. Like I know there's like a reason for it technically in the story, but it just feels like it poof, there it is. Poof, it's gone. There's no purpose. It's just kind of there because you need to play a certain amount of mini games. And usually if you get a certain amount of points in these games, you get extra actors, which is fine. Well, actually, no, you get extra props, not extra actors. All the actors are gained through, like, regular gameplay. Where with the props, you have to, like, at least with some of them, you have to, like, achieve a certain amount. Like, the stuff there's actually a speed run of getting all the props. Did you know that? There's a speed run. I mean, I guess there's a speed run for everything, but I didn't even think about it. I thought that game was just like no one wanted it, no one really cared about it. But no, there's people who are speedrunning it, getting all the props, and all the actors. The game's like also with that game. I don't know if you can. In the thing I watched, they were able to skip the cutscenes and dialogue, which I know you can't do. So I almost wonder if it was like maybe that one I watched was tool assisted somehow. That's probably a guess I could make. I have no idea though. Now I'm stuck thinking about that. But that game had a lot of good moments too. Like for example, when you finally get the Flying Dutchman his dining sock, he's like, "I'll give you 3 wishes," essentially. He's he's not a genie, but he sometimes acts like one. You get him out of a bottle in one of the GameCube games, even. But at one point, there's like, what would I want? And I don't remember what he said for the first one. The second one, I remember he goes, Flying Dutchman like starts to like. Oh, now I remember the first one. He like Flying Dutchman seemingly gets impatient, being like, "You have 3 wishes," and sometimes like, "I wish you would just give me a few more minutes to think." It's like, "All right, you have 3 wishes left. You have 2 wishes left." It's like, "Ah, I really wish I learned how to keep my mouth shut." Okay, you have 1 wish left. I want you to be a part of the vertical Mermaid Vertical show. That was a fun exchange. I thought that was funny. There's also when you even get that sock, there a lot of the thing I noticed with a lot of these games, with these characters, is that they're always going for the Flying Dutchman's treasure, and then when they find it, they're like completely underwhelmed. Employee of the month, you have to like figure out a way to get money. And Patrick's suggestion is to find buried treasure, because there's supposedly some buried treasure hidden in Goo Lagoon that the Dutchman put away. So you decide that you'll look for it, and you dig it up with fucking Larry the Lobster's beloved shovel and pail, which that in itself is kind of funny. And you find it, and it's just fucking bus tokens. Which I mean, you need it because you need the bus tokens to get on the bus to progress through the game, but it's bus tokens. It's like a chest full of bus tokens. Oh well, I guess I could keep these for later, or something like that. I think is what SpongeBob says. But it's just hilarious. In the Lights Camera Pants, there's 2 instances. There's one in like the dig site in Kelp Forest, or whatever it is. Oh, hiccups again, burping. Ugh. In that one, there's these 2 like rednecks, very rednecks, like they don't even really know what a TV show is. And they're like, we're here to find the Flying Dutchman's treasure, and his ship's right there, so that must mean he's looking for it. That must mean it's in around, or at least this area. So we're close. We just need to find it. If only though we had like, I don't know, some kind of map maybe, and a compass, and then the other guy's like, we already have a compass. It's in the tent, you dummy. So you have to go steal their compass essentially, because they're not gonna accept just the fucking map. So you go back to Goo Lagoon, and there's a treasure hunter. He's looking for his own treasure from the Flying Dutchman. He's supposed to find these buried treasure that's supposed to get him like all sorts of cash money. And you play the stage, and they find it. It's just he gets disappointed because it's a Dutchman coin in a map. And it's like, I'd consider that treasure, but he didn't clearly. So he kept the coin and he gave us the map to the other treasure. So he gets disappointed by that. And so we give the other guy that map. And it still doesn't really do anything. Everyone's just fucked. Everyone's super not fucked, but they're super disappointed. Like they never ever are like they're never ever into like the actual treasure that is given. So that's funny. Um it's just stuff like that though. I like those things. I have like I've been talking for a while though, haven't I? I've realized that. Oh, I dropped a marker. Let me just grab that. Yeah. There we go. I grabbed it with my foot. Do you ever just do shit like that? Where you just like play with shit in your hands? I sometimes do that. It's probably gonna sound fucking gross, but I do that with feet. Like I just have a marker sitting in my feet while I'm doing other things, and it's like I can distract myself away from. Because it's like keeping your hands busy, but my hands are already busy, and for some reason my body is like, you're still not. I still want to be more entertained. Entertain me, wait. So I have to entertain. But that's just how it be. But by the way, SpongeBob Rehydrated. Let's talk about that real quick before I finish off. Maybe that'll be the last thing I talk about. Um, SpongeBob Rehydrated. It's a good remake. It's a pretty faithful remake and all that. Would I say it's perfect? No. There's some things where it's like there's some like they're mostly nitpicks. For one thing, you could very much tell that the way that the game is done, it feels very different. Not in like a bad way, but like when you play the original and you play the rehydrated, it's just something to get used to almost. Like they all look the same almost. Like of course it's tweaked up a little, but it feels different a little on how it operates. I can also tell that they used they prefer to use the unused dialogue in some instances, like for SpongeBob's missile attack. There's like this very clear like audio quality to his voice where it's like I don't remember what he says, but he says this basic line whenever he sends out the missile. And there's an unused line where he says the same thing, but the way he says it is very different. I noticed that they use that line instead of the official one. And I guess that's like a little thing. I hear that they were like slightly rushed. So they didn't get to put in nearly as what they wanted to. So there were some things that was like for me in the original. It was really exciting to see this like developmental shit, because it's like I get to see what the creators were thinking about when they were developing this game I like. And it It was like unused robots. It was like aspects of lands that we didn't get to see. And like breaking the game, we could figure out that there was, I mean, there was also Squidward Spot. And if we broke the game a little bit and hacked around with it, there was going to be a Glove World thing that probably got combined with that one section of Goo Lagoon. That would have been exciting though. And there was Patrick's Dream, and there was that part of the SpongeBob boss, and I guess they couldn't live up to the promise necessarily as much because they were on a little bit of a time budget, and COVID kind of didn't help. But it was kind of disappointing, like getting all those shiny tokens, shiny objects for the final, like not final, but that little like theater stage, and it's just a bunch of images that I could take myself, and where they looked nice, but I had nothing to gain out of that. I don't even know why they were there. I didn't like it. I did not vibe with it per se. Um, there's other little nitpicks too. Like with Sandy, I noticed that in the GameCube version, and I did test it a while ago, a long time ago. Sandy, when you grapple onto one of the little symbols, Sandy will stay there until like you like actively try to leave. Like if you stop like holding the button, she'll still stay there. Now, with the hydrated, you have to hold down on that button or she will drop. And it's very frustrating because it feels almost uncomfortable doing it. And that might just be me, mostly just because I'm not used to it. It wasn't I definitely didn't like it as much. It was not my favorite. Seeing there was not to say there was things I didn't like though. I like how you get to see more of the projectiles a little easier with that red outline. There was I liked how each of the buttons had like particular symbols on them to show like what you were supposed to use with it or do with it, like showing which one was supposed to be used with the bubble. Oh yeah, there's one other nitpick. I don't want to go in nitpick here because this is a really good remake. There's just like little things that bug me, really. There's a part of the stage in the Mermalair where like in the original, where there's like this like empty like item, and you can move around in it and jump in it. And you're like, that's weird. This thing must be broken or something, if I say it out of context. Then you push the button, and it beeps, and there's a car. And it's like, oh, it was the Invisible Boatmobile. But when you do that in the Rehydrated, there's no, like, box for the Invisible Boatmobile. It's just, you press the button, it appears, and when it leaves, you just fall to the ground. That's disappointing. A little. I didn't like that as much. I was like, oh, I liked that though. Again, though, this is me nitpicking. There's also, strangely, in the Shady Souls, there is a misplaced floating tiki. So there's like these wooden tikis just floating in the sky by themselves, and it's like, how'd you get up there, little buddy? How'd you get up there, guys? How'd you get down there, you silly goofs? So that is a little weird. I don't think they fixed that yet. I think they're too busy on Cosmic Shake. I did like that they improved with Kelp Forest because if anyone who doesn't know, the problem originally with Kelp Forest, is that a lot of TV screens could not handle the, colors necessarily of that stage. And the problem is on TV screens, it appears a lot darker. So everything kind of blends together with that stage. If you're playing on an emulator, you don't notice it as much because it's considerably more lit up. But you're on a console, you're going to have some challenge. Another reason why I emulated. But at least with the Rehydrated, they lightened up that stage a little bit. And I also like the new skybox for SpongeBob's Dream. I think that was a nice touch. I liked the different movements, the more movements they gave to the characters, and whenever they were talking. The lips flaps definitely don't match up as much. Like, I know in the original game, The lip flaps at least matched up somewhat, but the movement and like poses that were done weren't as nearly as like fluid. There was just kind of there was a set amount of expression SpongeBob would do in his talking animations. He would like point his finger up and look confident. That was one of them. He would do that one a lot. Um, Also, there's like a couple of meme stuff in Rehydrated, which I honestly I don't mind. I'm not as like iffy about. I'm not throwing a table over it. But if they could have, probably would have just replaced some of that stuff. I was thinking, I don't know why I thought this. I thought in Rock Bottom they were gonna put like the old models in the game in the display case. I don't know why I thought that. Um, that wasn't really their fault. I'm sure they didn't do that. I don't know where I got that idea from, but I got that. I saw those. And weird thing is that maybe the models are animated original. I don't remember, but they're strangely animated in the Rock Bottom one. It's not like it's unused animation or anything. It's just general animation. It's just weird. Like they're blinking and shit. Um, Also, like, the only model I didn't like was Merman's, because every time he'd open his mouth, it was very, very fleshy looking and weird. And it's a weird, fucked up SCP version of Mermaid Man, where it's Mermaid Man, but his jaw's all fucked up. Besides that, I liked the game. I kind of liked the little minor improvements on some of the robots. Most of them are minor, but I liked them. They were cute. I also there's nothing. I love the more of the scope they have with the levels, or at least it feels like it anyway. Like it just like the Goo Lagoon, like when you're in the little hub stage area and you head towards Goo Lagoon, you see all these like different like huts and like surfboards and stuff like that. I liked that. I almost like wanted to break bounds and go explore it, but I mean obviously you can't. But it just looked so nice. So it was so pretty looking. I'd say that like a lot of the game is pretty faithful. You could tell that they were actually planning, it seems, on adding back that Patrick stage. Because I was a little disappointed that they didn't add the Patrick stage. You could tell, based on unused files, it was planned but scrapped. Probably because of the time constraints. But it's disappointing. That would have been really fun to see if only we were in a universe where that was actually in the game. But whatever. Either way, I don't think the mood is ruined because Patrick could have a dream about food just as much as he could have a dream about absolutely nothing but a black empty void. He literally had a white void and he was just riding a coin seahorse thing in the one of the episodes that I think that stage based off of. So it's not like surprising or anything, but weird. What was some other things I was thinking about that game? Um, there's like I'm trying to remember. Some people didn't like that SpongeBob bot or whatever the heck its name is. That the eyes are all hollowed. Maybe I'm making that up. I don't remember. And I remember people commenting about it, and I really liked it because it kind of makes it look spookier. I don't even know if that was really intentional, but it makes it look spookier, creepy. I think there's a mod being made that like will switch up the two, where like the regular Patrick is there fighting and the regular Sandy's there fighting, and you're playing as like the Robo versions. I think that's kind of funny. Excuse me. I think it's weird that they oh, that's what I was gonna talk about, the multiplayer. Yeah, I've never opened the multiplayer. I definitely didn't care for it. I never really saw a reason for it either. Maybe there's someone out here who like played that. No one I've talked to played it though. Hiccups. Ugh. No one I talked to played that though. They all just played the regular ass game. And it's disappointing because the Squidward boss design is really cool looking. But, I mean, I guess they couldn't. How would they have fit him into the story? You know? That means they would have to rewrite some stuff. But, eh, I, it was disappointing seeing him in this robot idea in just a side mode. And, like, all of the characters play exactly the same, give or take. And that's disappointing. Um, Even Gary plays the same as fucking Mr. Krabs. Um, I don't think I've touched it even once. That's kind of sad, because, again, I know I keep saying that, but the Squidward boss design looked really cool, and I really like the redesign that they made. I think it looks cool. I think it looks even better than their planned version, the concept sketches. I think a lot of the redesigns were really good. They like completely redesigned the Sandy robot. I really like what they did with that one. I think that one was really cool looking. It was definitely new, but I think it was much more of an interesting idea. But it was just like, oh, we don't get to see the Squidward one unless we play the multiplayer version, which no one wants to do. So, I think that was the big thing I wanted to talk about. There's a lot of like tikis though that are like in weird placements. You can tell that the placements were kind of off. They did fix some placements from the original game though. There's a one in the bridge in Goo Lagoon just as you leave the castle. The middle tiki is not there. It's out of bounds for some reason. Now it's there, so you can do a successful combo, but still very odd. There were some odd ones, but they were in weird places, or like stuff was misplaced. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, I'm trying to think of like really things I really liked about the game too. I'm not just nitpicking. The there's one nitpick. So in the GameCube version, this kind of happens simultaneously. It instantly when you like bubble wand Squidward's giant ass fucking painting of himself, it instantly goes to that mushroom and not mushroom mushroom mustache, and like he goes hey, but weirdly enough with the Switch one, I don't remember if he says hey. I think he does, but I don't remember. I don't know if he does. But the minute you hit it, it goes all blurry and shit because it's trying to render the mustache image. And I get that that's like a technicality, but it's still very odd. Like you look at it and then you just kind of wait for it to render. Do you know what's one thing I really like though? I know I already said it, but I really like the different poses. I thought about that again. Plankton especially. Plankton had like one fucking pose he ever did whenever he talked. I don't think he changed poses ever. But the same thing goes for. I'm trying to think if Mr. Krabs even had. I think it was mostly Plankton was the biggest one who didn't have much variety in his poses. Maybe Bubble Buddy didn't have enough poses either, but it's Bubble Buddy. Um, but Plankton, he just kind of stood there and yapped at you. And that was all his poses did. But now he has more variety in his poses. Like he hunches over, or he's like, oh no 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 no, not me. Stuff like that. Those I really liked. That was really really fun. I didn't even necessarily. I said I don't mind the meme stuff. It didn't really bug me as much. A lot of it, to be fair, is like offhand, like one NBC models dabs. I think you have like the clucking SpongeBob is one of the memes that appears, stuff like that. Um, I didn't mind those. I'm just trying to think about the thing. There's one complaint that lives outside of the game, promotion wise. I guess it didn't matter because it was like it was a remake, so it's like maybe people didn't care as much. I don't remember, but all they did with that promotion wise is they animated the SpongeBob and made it look kind of like the one from the cover, and SpongeBob's going, "I'm ready," and that was it for the trailer, really, the first trailer. And that's like, yes, it was a little disappointing. It got me like, is this gonna be good? Is it gonna be bad? I'm excited, but I'm also cautious. I felt like that about Cosmic Shake too, because the only thing in that game is these really well rendered. I think it has even worse of a thing, because it has these really well rendered and clearly done cutscenes. Looks like for the trailer, exclusively for this trailer, I think. And it's all really cool. It's on Sweet Victory, so we're like all really excited about it because we love that song. That song's very iconic to SpongeBob. A very iconic association. By the way, fun fact: did you know that in the Goofy Goober song, like the not the traditional Goofy Goober song, the rock one, that's based off of the song "I Wanna Rock." I, for some reason, I never knew that. Anyway, back to back on point. For Cosmic Shake, we see like the Sweet Victory trailer, and like we see some elements of what's kind of maybe gonna happen. Like they're gonna go through different worlds, of course. Um, and you get to see all these unique costumes, but they're not in any gameplay, and that always makes me nervous. That always makes me worried. Like, is the game gonna be good? Is the game gonna be bad? And I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be good, but I'm like, oh boy, I'm nervous. I'm a little worried. Hopefully, it's good. I don't want it to be bad. I I do genuinely hope it's very good, but it's a little worrying when you're just given like a unfit like not unfinished, but when you're just given a pretty little animation. Because animation's cool, but it's not gameplay. Like even okay, maybe this wasn't the first trailer, the original of SpongeBob Bikini Bottom, but I know they had a trailer that showed a lot of the beta elements. Like instead of the throw fruit, it was those soccer balls. It showed that in the trailer. It was a Goo Lagoon. They even showed the Muscle Man arm SpongeBob boss, stuff like that, and they showed all of that in the trailer, and that's cool. You got to see the gameplay a little bit, so you're like, oh, what's going on there? What's going on there? Um, and you kind of have that what's going on there with the Cosmic trailer, but it's not to the same extent because it's not real gameplay. At least for me. A lot of people are very excited about it. I'm still excited about it regardless, but oh boy, I'm a little worried. But I'm cautious. Maybe that's better to say. Anyway, that was the last topic I was going to talk about. I gotta edit this just a teensy bit. I don't even know what I'm gonna put as an image. So hopefully you liked hearing me just talking to myself, and that's it. Um, I'll probably edit this a little bit in Premiere, and then just make a fucking uh, image to follow it. I don't even know because there's no general theme going on in this discussion. Maybe I'll just make like a me and with a chat bubble talking about chaos, not the Sonic one, just like general like jumble of drawings. Um. Anyway, thank you.